The Oklahoma stuff, we didn't, I can't remember if we threw that in there or not, but just guessing. But regardless, the actions are going to be similar, right? Whether you're going to play some shooter that's going to come off all screens over under, you're going to play some big at some point. So I think we balanced that really well. And now I don't know much about Murray State. I don't know a whole lot of the intricate details of Oklahoma. Only I watch them and cheer for them because it's Jenny's team, and I know I like their big, and I know how fast they play. But how about other stuff? I got to figure that thing out. Thankful I get to.
Yeah, focusing on your team.
Yeah.
What did that mean?
Yeah. Yeah, I think we were just, I was working a little bit on, our zone. I know when we gave up some rebounds on our zone shifts, and we tried to help with some drives in our zone shifts, which left open four corner pocket threes. So I tried to work on that a little bit more, although it's been really good for us. We beat Michigan State, I think, because of it. And we held serve most of the time against Ohio State. So I did that a little bit. I was tweaking some things with some ball screens on our player. And then I was trying to work on some fluidity in our offense. And just giving a little bit more time with different combinations. I spent a lot of time working on different people with different when we need different rhythms in a game. So that's what we tried to focus on.
If you were going to turn in like a self-review for this year,
self-review for me myself.
For yourself, yeah. That has been success.
Yeah. I think, any coach will tell you you're wired to get the grass right. You're wired to get the net right. But I will say, I knew the job was going to be hard, but the knowing and the going through were definitely, challenging. But I think that it has been a success because I think the bar that, I was so blessed to be part of helping set, it was incredibly high and it was incredibly fun. And, the fact that our fan base helped and they were there, boy, for most of the season. It was a lot like last year. Unless when people started to realize Caitlin was done, then they weren't, there wasn't as many non-conference games that didn't show up. But for any matchup, our fan base was amazing. So I think that was really a self-review of positive, right? I think the way that we played, that I think fans like to watch. I think that was a positive. At least that's what I got when I be out talking or I get stopped at the mall or whatever. So I think that was good. I think the fact that we had that adversity and we came through it, I think that was another positive. So I think overall, where this program ended last year with who we ended it with, including a couple of goats, Elise and Caitlin, I feel like I'm happy about that. But do I wish I would have done a lot of things different to maybe get one more win here, one more win there? Absolutely. So I think that's where, unless you cut down the net, I think you just always feel like, wish it could have, we should have. But when I'm subjective, I think if I can look at it as just a general person and not me in this chair, I think it was a pretty good year, 22 wins coming after everything. And now it's a brand new season, and now we get a shot to see what we can do.
When you were in Oregon and lost that game, and it's 5 straight, Hannah's back here, and you got, Lucy's confidence seems to be waning a little bit. You got a lot of young freshmen throwing people in. How did you guys get through that?
Yeah.
Because things can splinter,
right?
And teams can go downhill and lose in a 9-minute Big Ten tournament. This is best of ones.
Yeah. I think as our coaching staff, we just really had to keep them steady. We had to keep them. I talked a lot about being right here, because if they started to listen, when they're not just media, not just fans, not social media, but it can be in their own orbits. If you start to get splintered, I just had to be like, listen to me right here, stay right here. We're closer than we're farther. If I had a buck for every time I said that, we're closer than we're farther. Just believe it. I'm telling you. And so I think that's where we just kept really celebrating anything little that we could. And it gets hard when you lose those, in a row. And then, I think me personally had my inner circle was very, very great. And I had a lot of good people praying for me. I know that. I had a lot of people that were keeping my wind under my sails going. So I had the energy, right, to make sure that, when I was making sure they knew there was farther, that there was nobody more energetic in the room, right? But I did, man. I saw them shoot. I saw how hard they were working. So I just think it was a credit to them. I think my staff was fantastic. And we just knew that we were closer than we were farther. And when we broke it, boy, then it just, we put ourselves in a position. And when we put ourselves into positions, then a lot of great things started to happen.
I thought it's the pressure cooker that could have been against USC. I mean, knowing nationally televised game, 22's here, the fans are all here. Juju Watkins, you just got everything here that it'd be easy for a team with a weak mentality to fall apart by 30.
Right.
Instead, just jumped out to an early lead, held on even when they came back. Where did that come from your team? How were they able to gut through it and pull it out?
Well, I really think, they believed when they got a couple wins, and then they're competitive. And, they knew everybody's like, we don't have a chance. They can't. Juju's this, and the two greatest are in the same arena, right? I think they just were like, well, yeah, but we got to play the game. And that was kind of our plan. I thought our scout was really good that day. But what I was really proud of is that we got wins to follow it. And we were so close with UCLA. And my biggest thing about UCLA is I wanted that one so much too, just that people wouldn't say, well, they won that because, there was a lot of electricity in that game with USC. But even that near miss, I think that showed that these women really are together and they really can, compete. But I just think they're really competitive. They really, to go through the whole season and not lose any game by more than 10, that's really pretty remarkable. And I think that shows their fortitude, because it wasn't always pretty and it wasn't certainly easy. And like 3 of the games, we were terrible free throw shooters. So it was like, some of it, you want this set at the end of the game or whatever, but 3 times we just shot poor free throws, and we take care of that, we win, right? But they never gave up. They never stopped believing. And I think that's why they're a 6th seed right now.
First time doing this as a head coach, what did the next 48 hours look like for you?
Well, I do know that regardless what role, there's not a lot of sleep involved, and you're very happy about that. But for me, I think as a head coach, I'm just so grateful, because I know this is where we've worked, for 24 years prior. This is where I've worked to want us to always be.